everybody, welcome to our first iteration of Community Spotlights, a new segment where we'll be sitting down with a player, or as you can see, an entire team, to highlight their story in the world of collegiate Apex Legend. Today, I'm here with newcomers and fast rising favorites, Cumberland University.
Hi, I'm Maple. I play way too much Apex for my own good, and I'm excited to play in our team this year.
I'm Slasher. I've been here for a minute. I did top 7 with UNC Wilmington, graduated, and here for my master's. Excited to play.
And I'm Zach. I do some shooting in Apex, and I've been competing in Tier 2, and excited for collegiate.
We can kind of start off with Slasher, and we'll go one by one here. So, Slasher, considering you were the first person that Cumberland brought in, how exactly did this roster even come to be? You know, from the outside looking in, it kind of seems as if the roster and the school itself kind of came out of nowhere to everybody following.
So I got a DM, I want to say it was like April, maybe March, from Loopy, actually, from Minnesota State, saying that Cumberland was interested in getting into Apex and that he had told them I might be a good starting point for that. And so kind of went from there, locked it in that I was going to come here for my master's and work with them. And from there, Zach, I think around the same time, I fully committed. He committed too. They kind of separate. The first time we met was in a Discord call, trialing thirds. We did trials for like a month or so in the summer. And Maple actually was the last person who trialed. Originally, I had told her that we didn't have space because we already had like a half dozen other trials that we had to finish in like a couple weeks. Some stuff happened on the back end. One player dropped out, and when we decided we were not interested in trialing for out-of-game reasons. And so Maple came back up. We trialed with her. We trialed with a couple other people, and we decided that she was the most promising for us, the best match for our team.
Yeah, that's honestly such an impressive way for it to come, especially, you know, with Loopy being the person that kind of reached out to start it all off. He's a huge supporter of the collegiate scenes. Shout out Loopy. Great guy. But, I mean, that's super interesting for how the roster formed. You know, everybody was like, where did Cumberland come from when it first got announced back in May? It was like a shock to everybody. But here you guys are, and we're super excited to see you guys. So, Maple, having just recently won the Queen's Cup and, you know, being the only person on this roster with lane experience, having played in the ALGS Open back in May, how are you kind of approaching the collegiate season, and how are you going to be using these experiences to, you know, maybe help out Slasher and Zach?
Well, that's honestly a really good question. I feel like approaching the collegiate season, I want to instill confidence in myself, and I want to keep the confidence of my teammates high and maybe instill more into them, because I think on paper, our team is probably one of the best, if not a contender already for the championship this year. I think the LAN experience that I have, being a positive experience, but not a lengthy one, is a little bit of like something I can use for the confidence, mental stability over time, because I know events can take a very, very long time. Playing for 6 hours was a lot. So I feel like if I can keep my mental good and keep the team's mental good, we will be fine on LAN and online.
Yeah, and I mean, that's honestly a great answer, having played in front of, you know, not just people, but all these other great Apex talent at such a huge event. Do you feel any kind of pressure being there? And, you know, obviously people feel pressure, right? But it's kind of like, how are you going to use that pressure that you felt and the level of it to kind of come into collegiate, where obviously the pressure probably won't be as high, right? You're not playing against an Imperial Hal.
Part of the reason why I went so positively is because I kind of went in with a baseline expectation of I had one set of practice. I wasn't going to expect us to do very well, although I wanted to. I feel like the pressure wasn't really there because, albeit I wanted to perform, I didn't expect myself to. Here, I think it's going to be a little bit different. I think we all expect ourselves to do or be one of the best. So being able to do that with the confidence I have playing against the players I did versus what I'm going to play against now, which, by the way, there's some amazing new talent coming in this year, albeit it's not nearly as high level as, say, the LGS Open was. I do believe that there is going to be some competition this year, and I'm really excited to play against them. I think the confidence is priority, then I think we will do well.
Yeah, and I mean, your guys' entire school, is kind of touting you guys up as the newcomers ready to kind of come in and win. So, I mean, we're super excited from our side as well because, always having more talent is great for the scene, great to watch, and overall just a super fun experience. But yeah, Zach, I know Cumberland's, having a boot camp right now. How has it helped you and the team kind of get a feel for this school, bond together, all that good stuff? And do you think that this is a experience that gives you an advantage over other schools who don't do something like this?
Honestly, I think it's a pretty good and fun experience. Yeah, I think it's a lot more fun. I think it'll help take a lot of stress off of people or students that are trying to compete. So it can be a lot of stress on that person's mental, and just having time to not play the game, but also do things with your teammates. I think it's a pretty good exercise to help with that. I think it does give us an advantage solely because of that, being able to do things with my teammates that other people can.
We kind of see on Twitter and stuff all these, you guys call them tribes, I believe, and we're like,
Yeah.
I'm like, what in the world is happening over here? So, if you could kind of speak on just the boot camp experience overall, even apart from just the Apex team.
Well, we have 6 different tribes. We have orange, red, blue, purple, yellow. It's green. Yeah, it's my tribe. I'm missing my tribe. Oops. Yeah, I'm missing green. But we have 6 tribes, and they kind of go head to head against each other, and every day. Usually our day starts off with like a morning lift or a mile run. Yeah, we have new activities every single day. We don't really know what we're getting into until the day of. So it's kind of a interesting event that happens every day.
So yesterday we were supposed to do military training.
Oh yeah, it sounds like you guys are being forcefully. We're in esports, we're not supposed to be out touching grass, running and lifting. Like, what's happening out here?
So having a healthy mental is partially intertwined with having a healthy physical body as well. So the healthier you are physically, the more positive and or less foggy your mental mind is. So being physically active, getting a walk in every day, that's going to help you off the game. And I think a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, and I think the school's doing a great job of kind of enforcing that and getting you guys ready, not just in-game, but out-of-game. And that out-of-game directly translates to getting better in-game. One more question for Slasher before we open it up to the entire team. You mentioned it earlier, having transferred over from UNC Wilmington. Your team was always kind of considered as a dark horse. There were never favorites to win, but now coming into Cumberland, as both Maple and Zach have mentioned, you guys are, looked at as favorites and high performers going into this season. So how is the change in expectations? How are you kind of coping with it? And what is the entire, new situation feel like as you're the only person here that's had, collegiate experience?
It's definitely a change. Because coming from UCW, we knew we were good. We knew we were top 5. We should have been 3rd place. We lost to Southbug. Very sad. But we outperformed, I think, our expectations in champs and in stage 2 playoffs and such. I was really happy with the improvement we had, especially had a couple of roster changes through my run there, and just shout out my teammates for that. But coming into this, it's definitely, like I said, it's a little bit different. I think, at least on paper right now, we're the best fighting team in collegiate, and it's not super close. Coming into it, we've got some changes as well as far as the meta goes. We're in a really, really aggressive meta with Bang getting it buffs and Evo changes, etc. So definitely a little bit of a change in dynamic going from what was typically a pretty heavy zone team, kind of switching into more edge focus towards the end of our run, and now coming in here playing much more aggressively because at any given moment, one of these two will just knock a person and we'll TP on them. I mean, we dropped, I think, 111 points in 4 games in scrims a couple days ago. Just one of these guys just hits a headshot randomly, and we just start to snowball. So we're looking to do the same thing in collegiate, and I think we'll be able to execute.
That's a hot take, best fighting team in collegiate when you've had, you have Southern Miss, you have Iowa State, who've, historically been your collegiate, run it downers. I'm kind of looking forward to see you guys live up to that take. But question open to everybody. Without giving away too much of you guys' team strategy, what's one thing that you think is going to make Cumberland stand out above the rest of the pack?
Put me on Maggie.
Oh man, are we talking legend div? Maggie by itself is going to get y'all to the top?
I think most collegiate teams, even the other teams like USM and like Bellevue and Ottawa, are really built around, on paper historical performance or like name recognition. And I think we're one of the few teams that actually has a functioning role structure where everybody does their job well and consistently. We kind of are all in the same mindset as far as what we need to do. I think a lot of the teams like USM is going to be graduating, coming through fall. 2 of them graduate, so they won't be at the championship. We're excited to fight them and play against them.
Yeah, so it kind of sounds like you guys are saying we have better team chemistry than everybody.
I think a lot of collegiate teams struggle with the role structure, and a lot of them are just like 3 good players thrown on the team together that can't really play together, and that are all either 3 fraggers, all 3 IGLs. They all do the same exact thing, and they don't really have much outside of that in mechanical skill.
I think another thing to add on that is within our team, we have 2 different types of IGLing than Zach and Slasher. Slasher is notoriously a zone IGL, very well knowledged in reading zones, knowing where to go, how to set something up. And Zach is a very aggressive edge IGL. This guy will call to do something, and instead of letting me take space, he's already in there, and he's fine every single time, and I can just catch up and clean up. It's insane. Both my teammates do their jobs perfectly. I'm able to just mesh to them. I kind of do what I'm told. It's a lot of fun. I personally think we are at minimum winning stage 1 and probably have the potential to win champs.
I mean, you beat me to my final question. It sounds like the dynamic of having both a zone IGL and then also an edge IGL kind of gives you guys the options, right, to pick how you want to play.
So that's a point where a lot of teams in collegiate, especially at USM and ISU, both have done this, and it's cost them a lot. They're in the edge mentality of just run it down, take every fight you can, no stop, no breaks, nothing. And they don't have that kind of gear shift into end games, into late games when they have fought their way into a good position, and they'll end up crashing and burning because of it. And I think we are really good about switching gears once we put out a space that we want to control and converting those things. And I think that really gives us a big edge.
Yeah, and I mean, we're super excited to see it because it's a shakeup to the entire collegiate, ecosystem, really, and from what everybody's been expecting and used to from the last few years to, kind of having a newcomer come in. So since Maple decided to beat me to it, give me your guys' honest Season 4 expectations for Cumberland before we close it out.
I don't really think it's a team close to us on mechanical skill level. Like, there's teams that can, fight back, but I mean, I don't really think there's a team that can actually beat us.
I think on paper, at least right now, if we're not winning, we're underperforming.
I think we should win a lot. I don't know if we'll win every single last day. We will win when it matters, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, I mean, those are heavy words to stand by, and we're pretty excited to see if you guys are going to live up to the hype you guys put yourself up to. Those are lofty expectations, but expectations I think a lot of people think you guys will probably get to. So thank you guys so much for y'all's time. It was great meeting the new roster and, kind of pick the brains of the players. So thank you guys again. If you guys have any last words before we kind of close everything out, feel free.
Big shout out to our coach, Zany, who's not with us in person, unfortunately, but he's working hard with us behind the scenes. Ren, our manager and kind of assistant coach, they're both impact is, cannot be overstated, and we wouldn't be where we are without.
Shout out to our directors of the program, Coach Claypool, and the staff on the team. They've put a lot of money into every single team at this university, and they are giving us the time. They're committing just as much as we are to ourselves. They want us to be ourselves, and I think we owe it to them to do well as well.
Sounds absolutely amazing, and thank you guys again for taking time out of your day. So to everybody tuning in, make sure to tune in to Season 4 and see if Cumberland lives up to the hype. Thank you guys, and we'll see you later.